Hey guys, what's going on? Jacob here. So we're nearing the end of our beginner series on web development. We've learned how to create web pages, how to style them, how to add dynamic content, and how to change them. Now it's time to go over how to get data from an SQL database and display it on the page. Nearly every website that you visit today is pulling data from a database in some way or another and displaying it on the page. And the basics behind it aren't that hard. So let's get started. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and it's how we add, get, update, and delete data and tables in the database. With SQL, you can create databases, tables, and table rows, and add items, and so much more. If you're running XAMPP, you can go to localhost/php myadmin to access the MySQL interface, which is a common version of SQL. This is where you can run SQL with everything that we're going to talk about in these lessons. You can also use PHP to run SQL on our database as well, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Creating a database with SQL is a lot easier than you might think. To create a simple database, all you need to do is use create database and then the database name you want. That's it. When we get to connecting the database with PHP, we'll have to add some permissions and whatnot, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Creating a table in SQL is also pretty easy. The basic syntax for creating a table is as follows: create table, table name, and then the columns for that table. The table columns are where the fun really begins. In addition to the column name, you also need the data type for that column. You'll usually use text, integer, or double, or something similar, but I've linked to a list of all the available data types in SQL. You can also auto-increment table columns as well. This means that the value of this column will always be one more than the same column in the row before it. You typically see this with an ID of some sort in a table. It's also typical to use this column as the primary key, but we'll talk more about these items when we get to table relationships. So if I were trying to add tables for a team for my sports league, my SQL would probably look a little something like this. Well, that's all for today. Next time we'll talk about how to create, read, update, and delete table rows. That's where all the real fun is going to be. In the meantime, do you have any questions over what we went over today? If so, be sure to leave them down in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. But until next time, good luck and happy coding.